It's been something that I've felt the need to do for a couple of years now, but I've finally had the courage to tell my family, well, I'm not participating in that anymore. Hey, Be Cool. Hey, Miss Joan. Okay, look, there's about 8 people in here. So if y'all are rejoining me, you'll have already heard my story, and I apologize for starting with that, but it just makes sense to start the conversation with that. So my name is Erica, and about 10 years ago, I was placed on hospice with a rare, incurable neurovascular disease. I was fully expected to pass away within 6 months to a year. At the end of that year, when I didn't pass away, I had prepared. I had written letters to my family. I had 2 children that were still living at home, and my spouse. We all prepared for my passing. At the end of that year, when I didn't pass away, miraculously didn't pass away, I started these new treatments that were part of a study group. And those treatments made me healthy enough to carry and deliver a child after being removed off of hospice. At the time of her birth and the time of my C-section, something went terribly wrong, and I lost all the blood in my body and lost my entire life for over a minute. So a lot of things happened in this. Hey, thank y'all for rejoining me. I appreciate the return people that come back to find me. So, I passed away. I already had a rare opportunity to live like I was dying on hospice. I did not give dying my time or attention. I focused on living the best. My diagnosis is called multi-system atrophy or Shy-Drager syndrome. And I have watched many people in my support group it just becomes too much for them. When you receive a diagnosis like that, you do want to give up. It's hard to redirect yourself. And I already felt like I was living like I was dying. And that was a rare gift and opportunity to see the world. At the time I passed, I want you to understand that I grew up in a very rural, conservative Christian area. And everything that I had experienced in my childhood was kind of frowned upon because I had certain abilities whenever I was very young to connect with other energies. I've always felt very connected to the earth and everything on it. And I just know that I'm an old soul. I think that's what people used to say. It wasn't ADHD or autism. It used to be an old soul, or you're just kind of quirky. I've been called that. So my daughter came into the world and I passed away. Now, in this time, I had an out-of-body experience where I realized I was more than my physical body. And I was shown all these things. I was met by an energy that was my father, my dad, my daddy, okay? Not a father. That gets misinterpreted sometimes, so I want to be very clear. I was met by my dad and my grandmother, and they showed me all these things that they were realizing when they got to a different dimension outside of their bodies. They realized that everything that they were taught to believe was wrong. And they came back to tell me and show me everything that I have been taught is wrong. Now, at the time of my passing, I fully held on to the belief that the Bible was the book to live by and that Jesus was meant to be worshipped, and all that belief system that I held so close to my heart was just ripped away. Now, the things that I was shown and told about, if you can imagine 50 or 75, I'm not here to change anyone's mind. I just have a story to tell and share, okay? So I've got documentation that's on my channel. I have papers that show that, and I even have videos dating way back when I was on hospice that I made for my children. And the story feels unbelievable to me at times. So whenever I was shown all of these things, I had to sit with them for an entire year and understand fully what I was shown and what I was told, because if I would have spoke immediately about it, I know that my message would have been very different. So, let me get to this point. Whether you know it or not, or whether you remember it or not, we have all had a death experience. We will all have one again. We all share that in common. And it is a sacred, beautiful, loving experience, never to be feared. It is the most intimate experience I've ever had as a human. The only thing that comes close to competing with that deep, loving, peaceful feeling is the action of giving life. So, hey, Miss Rose, thank you for being here and moderating. So, I want you to understand we will all have an experience like that. But I know for a fact that I was given a rare opportunity to come back with all of this information that is made to be slowly relearned in our next lifetime. And my dad is continuously pushing me, saying, talk about this. I made 3 promises whenever I was in the highest dimension. And those promises were that I would talk about it, and I would be truthful, and I would sit with things before I said them, and I would never create fear or division with the things that I was shown. And the other thing is that I would continue to talk about it and not cause fear or division. And so I have tried to do those things very carefully. Whenever I'm given things that I think are important, I will post videos or I make poems, and sometimes it comes in the form of a song. But you have to understand what I was shown was pure, unconditional love. And I know that I'm meant to share that with the world. Now, thank you for that. What does that mean? What does that look like? Because a lot of people have a hard time with that. That means that you love yourself enough to show yourself the same love and compassion and grace that you offer so freely to others. Now, if you have been with me before, you know that I've talked about how my belief system changed in that split second and all the things that I was shown. But if you don't know that, I would like to talk about that. And you're welcome to your own opinions and your own thoughts about it. And I want you to share those with me. So I've talked a lot about my dad working at an arsenal. And he was a very uneducated man. He was an illiterate carpenter. He grew up in a farming family. He was one of 11. And I was identified early on, and there was an agreement made with my parents. When I think about this, it just gets me in my heart, because I can't imagine the conflict that he had and why he's trying to make it right now. He's trying to make it right now because he always had suspicion that something different was going on, but I never knew that it was any different because it had always been that way for me. And what I mean by that is before the GATE program existed, there were called individualized educational plans. And I was identified very early on, even in preschool. We lived in a home that had holes in the floor. We were, my dad worked so hard to get everything fixed on that rental house that we were living in, and it was deplorable. I have early memories of that, and then after I started going to preschool, my dad got this job offer, and in return for that, there was information traded. My dad did not understand at the time the depth and the depravity of this program. They told him that I was special and that I could help others, and they used me. And my dad had a security clearance, and he had to sign all of these non-disclosure agreements to work there. And so when he had suspicion that this program that I was in was different, he showed me, in my passing, he showed me everything that had been done and that he didn't know about it. So we still have communication that's open, and I know how hard it is to push and get that information to the human mind. So I know he's trying to right wrongs, okay? So I know that he's trying to make this okay now by giving me this information that at one time was classified. If he had not died when he did, I would not have received these messages. And it's really important that I keep sharing because he's truly trying to make things right. He has aligned me. He told me that help would be here. And time again, I found you all. And I'm aligned with you. And I know that's for great purpose. So what my dad has given me and the council have given him is a direct contract revocation. And this is to encouraging healing, evolution, and removal of unknowing consent. You see, there are universal laws that we all follow, whether we realize it or not, because we're given these and it's hardwired in our brains. So they have to, when I say they, I mean, I don't want to say elites. I want to say the top corporations that run the entire world. It's all interconnected. And when you research, you can find it for yourself. I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to do your own research about how the tobacco industry became the food industry and how the food industry became the arsenal and so on and so on. Okay, so all these ascended masters have given me a message, and I'm no different than anybody. There's no ego with me involved in this. This is truly just a message that I'm meant to share. So right now, today, I know that everyone's here that should be here, and I've done this before in my life, but I want you to understand, my dad is saying every time that we remove this unknowing consent, it makes changes. It makes great changes, more than we can even know. The old system and the old ways are crumbling right before our eyes, and this is meant. The Bible talks about revelations, and everyone has always thought of that as an apocalyptic end. And my dad said, no, it is peace and it's love, and they want you to fear it so they can control you, so they can manipulate you and continue to use your fear for division and control and power and greed. So my dad is showing me this again. I've had some conversations with a few of y'all outside of this, and you know that I'm always here offering unwavering support and unconditional love to each of you, and I truly mean that from the bottom of my core to everything within me. And right now, I want you to understand there's a lot going on around me, and I'm being shown so many things, and I'm being handed keys that I didn't. I can say this. I've been sitting with this for weeks now, and not. If you're okay, if you're new here, you'll understand that I made these promises to the higher dimensions and not to cause fear. And the human mind is wired to fear. It's the very thing that kept us alive in the earliest parts of our lives, okay? So my dad is saying that no longer serves any of us. It no longer serves a purpose other than control and division. So there are people, ancients, on earth right now. Y'all call them aliens or ETs or whatever you want. They are in human form. They're nothing to be feared. They have, for millennia, watched us with distant grace and walked among us. And when you think about an alien, you think about this thing that has been created for you. This vision. Just like how we've forgotten magic because of the programs that we've been shown to think of magic as this over-the-top thing that happens. But magic is happening all around us all the time. It's the little things. It's the taste of a peach. It's growing something. It's making something. It's creating something. It's sharing in existence with one another. So I'm trying to look at all these questions. I got a question. All these people are trying to say I'm God. Okay, that's a dangerous path. And I've been warned against this because with Pluto, and y'all, I've never in my life known anything about planets, but I was shown these things. With Pluto is the planet of change, and it is entering in time, the age of Aquarius, and things can get culty quick. And this is hard for me to say, okay? Because every one of us has great importance in this mission. We have signed up for this very time in this space to be here on earth to bear witness for all the darkness coming to light. And this has always felt bigger than myself. And it's because there are no more sacrificial lambs. There are no more martyrs. This is a collective that stands up, unites, and defends themselves and each other. Okay, so I have been warned that it can get culty. And I'm going to tell you something else. Everyone is looking for a savior right now. Every one of us. Everyone wants someone else to save us. Whether it be the ancients, the aliens, or a leader. But I'm going to tell y'all something right now. Leaders falter and promises wane. And in the end, we have been given everything within ourselves that we need to help each other because we are all connected. So be careful with that because we are all powerful beings. The power has been given away. It's been taken. And today, with this collective and this group, I am going to read this contract that my dad has given me. And this is about the second or third time that I've done it. And last night, I was questioning myself and questioning my mission. And I received constant confirmation that this is the way to go. And when we think of magic, we think of the things that we see on television being over the top. Just like we think of change having to take down an entire company. But think about the very smallest things that make a huge difference. Just a smile to a stranger has saved lives, and I've been shown this. I have been told this for a very specific person Because every time someone says this, contract revocation for healing and removal of unknowing consent, there have been little cracks in the facade. And pretty soon, it will all be brought to light. And this will be when a utopia is born. Okay, so trying to help us so we don't destroy ourselves. Look, we've done this over and over again, and this time we're not going to do it. We don't consent to that anymore. And if all of you right now will do this with me and hold time and space with me right now, I'm going to read this, and I've got my ancestors here and the land spirits and every energy that is desperate to be heard. The trees, the birds are looking at me right now in the window. I wish I could see it. They're just looking in, waiting for this moment, okay? Because we've been interfered with, whether we knew it or not. My dad didn't know it. He suspected it, and I think we all have a suspicion that it's been done to us. I'm going to ask, if you don't know that this will change your world, then I'm going to ask you to leave. I need you to understand and know. You don't have to believe. You have to know that this will make changes. So if you don't know that, then I'm asking you to leave with your energy, okay? My ancestors are here. Your ancestors, all of us are behind this. This is contract revocation for healing, evolution, and removal of unknowing consent. I, Erica Northam-Smith, along with this collective of people, hereby revoke all agreements, contracts, and permissions, whether explicit or implicit, that I have unknowingly or unconsciously entered into this lifetime or any other, which have allowed the imposition of negative programs, energies, or influences upon my being. By the power of my divine will and inherent sovereignty, I cancel and dissolve all bindings, vows, or oaths that no longer serve my highest good. I release myself from all limiting or harmful beliefs or agreements that restrict my healing, growth, and evolutionary process. I now sever any connections to any force, system, or entity that has sought to manipulate, control, or limit my full potential. Whether through fear, guilt, shame, religion, or any other program, I call back all energy, power, and essence that has been taken from me, knowingly or unknowingly, to be restored to me in balance, peace, and alignment with my true self. We stand in our full power and declare that we are the sovereign creators of our own experience. We embrace our healing and evolution, stepping forward into space of freedom, clarity, and self-love. With gratitude and clarity, I invoke my highest self, our guides, and the divine to support our process of healing, clearing, and restoring our true essence, free from any past entanglements. We ask, that any contracts or programs that are not of my highest good be neutralized, erased, and dissolved in any timeline, dimension, and reality. So it is. if you want for our highest good, yes. Look, whenever we choose to say for my highest good, I want you to understand that we are all connected. We are all one. So when you choose the highest good for yourself, we choose it for each other. Okay, let's see. Okay, thank y'all for holding this time and space and energy with me today. If you want a copy of this, I have it on my page, and I want you to call back your power, and I want you to revoke any agreements and contracts, whether explicit or implicit. Okay, so I know that this holds power. I have felt it, and I know that my dad is trying to make things right this time. And we had a good relationship on earth. I loved my dad. He didn't understand what was being done to me. And he didn't understand working at that arsenal that they were shaping weapons that would be used against us to keep us fearful and controlled. And he keeps coming to me over and over and over again saying, you need to give this to more people. You need to make sure that these people have this and they know it, because maybe we didn't even realize, but maybe our parents consented for us, or maybe their parents consented for them. So call back that power today and know deep within yourself that this holds the power to change the world. You have to know. And look, this contract revocation has been given to me over and over again. And I didn't understand why until today. All these, the birds are celebrating. And you have to understand we're all connected. And we have to call back the power. And look, my mama used to say things like, kill them with kindness. And I thought, my Lord, that takes a long time to do that. It's taken a lot longer than I thought. But listen, there have been people who have been working on this their entire lives, blocking everything that comes into their existence, blocking things that are done to them intentionally. And whether we realize it or not, it goes deep and it runs. It's bigger than you can imagine. And it's more tied to things. We were made to be a nation of workers, not thinkers. And I want you to understand it's time to stop that. That no longer serves us. I'm not saying to quit your job and sell everything you have unless that feels right to you. I'm just saying it's time to take back your power. And look, this goes beyond politics. This goes beyond religion. This goes beyond race. This goes beyond anything that those corporations and those companies have carefully devised and used. Okay, can you please explain dogs? I have connection with them more than people. Okay, this makes total sense to me because you had soul contracts with them. Whether you know it or not, like people can spend thousands of dollars looking for a twin flame or a soulmate, thinking that it's going to come in a human form. But I'm here to tell you that soulmates are... okay, can I say that? I was about to cuss. I'm going to step back for a second and say, everything that we've been taught to believe about having a purpose in life, about how we need to find the best job for us. Look, I just can't even. You have to question everything that you've been taught to believe. It's wrong. And the Ascended Masters were really, the energy was right there. It was still peaceful and loving, but they are irritated that their messages, which all say the same thing, they all have the same story, it's just a retelling. All religions have a common point of origin. I have a deep understanding that was to act as a community guidelines sort of thing, but listen, religion no longer serves us either. Everything that we've been taught to believe is wrong. And I can't say that enough because of the energy that they give me over and over again, saying, like, tell them no one is to be followed, no one's to be worshipped, no one. And that's another thing about this collective. There's not going to be, I think my friend Thomas sent me this thing that said, the next Buddha will not be one person. It will be a group of people. And this is true because 4 different times since the beginning of time, there were 4 different tribes on earth, and each of them worked together, and then there were systems created like religion, money, currency, and that ended up separating those tribes that were never meant to separate from one another. They were supposed to continue communicating, learning from each other, sharing their cultures with one another, and together they formed a complete circuit of energy. And each time that they were removed from the direct source of energy, they got further and further away. So the energy became less abundant. The energy became scarce because they were having to regenerate each time because there was a middleman. All of the Ascended Masters hold ancient wisdom and knowledge, and this is what they say. Love is all things. Love conquers all things. We are love experiencing itself. Where Earth gets tricky is emotions. But that's why we're having a human experience. We all signed up for it. And so now what I want to say is there has been an agreement made where a 5th tribe saw it was future humans. I'm ready to share all this, okay? Not everything, but most of it that I understand. The 5th tribe has been allowed to come to Earth to keep us from destroying ourselves again, from destroying the planet, from destroying humanity. And that 5th tribe is here now, walking among us, trying to elevate ascension. And they're trying so hard to get us to understand that we've been played. And not just a little, a lot. And so I have to be careful with this message so it doesn't turn in to one of vengeance. And when I say that, it doesn't turn in to one of vengeance. And when I say that, love, peace, but love does not mean that we lay down and are doormats. I think about this with my children because I have a hard time. I'll just be honest, I don't like disciplining. I have to constantly make myself do that because it's just not something I love to do. I love to love, and that's it. But part of love is being able to discipline and being a guiding force in that life. So I'm drawing correlations between parenthood and participating in the system. We have to love those people enough because they are part of us. But that doesn't mean that we can't withdraw or put them in timeout because we hold the power to change everything. When we together, when we seek great change, we see great change. And that is one thing that we've forgotten. We've been made to forget. And it was carefully constructed for us. So by saying this contract revocation, by saying that, you made a choice today to take back power. And I want to tell you all that you may notice to start, you may see things around you. Do not fear anything. There will be shows made specifically and designed to scare us, to distract us, to disturb us, to make us feel like we can't do without. But I'm telling y'all that we can, we do, and I've seen it. And you just have to you have to do your research too. If some person tells you that they found the way to fix everything, then run away, because we don't want that right now. We all need to stand together as a collective. Hey, Brad. Okay, so okay, let's talk about this. Can you tell me what's going on in New Jersey with the drones? That's the third promise. I didn't say that out loud. Okay. There were 3 promises I made in the dimension. To continue to speak, to not cause fear, and don't talk about conspiracy theories even if they're true. So I'm walking a tightrope here. A literal tightrope, okay? So I want to balance this and say that my dad confirmed with me through another person that was on my live who had a shared vision of mine. And what my dad told me was that these were made and a country would be blamed, but it's not that country. It is to cause more fear, more division, and the ancients have always supported us and guided you and loved you. They want the best for humanity. The people in power, when I talk about that, when I say they, I'm referring to the top 5 corporations where you can track any company back to those, any organization. I know what's... Thomas, are you in here? Okay, I want to say I'm not ready to share this yet because I don't know if I do know, but it's not time for me to say this yet. Look, there have been a lot of things that have happened and have been revealed to me, and I've tried to make videos on everything that I'm being shown, and I have to speak in a way that may seem indirect, but that's what I'm given, because you have to understand Earth. Okay, Thomas, do you think I can talk about the vision that I shared with you about the drones or orbs? I rely sometimes on my elders, okay? And if you're new, if you're new here, the person that revealed this to me is, whenever I passed away, I was met with my dad and my grandmother, their energies. And my dad worked at the Arsenal. You'll just have to go back and watch this live when I upload it to my YouTube. We're far into this conversation. And I'm waiting to see Thomas. Look, I felt heavy with this because I'm shown things and then I'm reminded that I can't go into conspiracy theories. I'll share a dream that I've shared before, and that's what I'm going to say unless if I see different, okay? So, what I was shown, and it was confirmed, okay? It was confirmed through a shared vision and dream because my dad showed me that whenever he was working on these things at Lockheed, and this goes beyond, okay? This goes beyond that. It's someone very prominent in technology that has worked with this company to create these things, these orbs, okay? It's a show, is what I will say about it. For instance, like in that dream that Annie shared with me, we had a shared vision and dream, and she got A19, and that's exactly what my dad told me. And no one knows about this because my dad gave it to me, and I sat with it. And in that dream, he said, "Do not fear. A19 was a program that will look like a flat F-22 Raptor." And so, as I'm scrolling through things and, just sitting still for a moment, this professional photographer has used his zoom lens and taken a picture, and that's exactly what it looked like. And so I knew in that moment that it was part of the show. It's part of this, but there may be more to share in future about that. But that's all I can say right now. Thank you, J Bird. It's a show. Does that mean that aliens are not real? Listen, I've said time and time again, aliens or ETs, whatever y'all call them, are ancients. They have advanced wisdom, like old souls, okay? And they've chosen to reincarnate time and time again on Earth to try to help humans. And they are the fifth tribe that I talked about. They are part, let's say they're part ancient and part human now. Okay, so they're real. They walk among you every day. They look just like you and me. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I feel a connection with a lot of you who join me. And look, I know sometimes I feel like I want you to understand that it can come off as insincere, or I don't know, maybe not as special when you tell people. But I'm going to tell you something right now. I have a deep love after my experience. I have this deep, unconditional love for people. It doesn't mean that I don't ever get frustrated or angry with people. Well, I don't really get angry anymore, but I've had to love myself enough. And part of unconditional love is loving yourself enough, offering the same amount of love and compassion that you offer so freely to others to yourself. And that's one thing that you have to understand. I truly love every inhabitant on the face of this earth. And I know that I'm meant to share that with anyone who comes in my path. No matter their religious beliefs, no matter their political stand, it goes beyond all of those things. So are the orbs a good thing or a bad thing? Okay, look, I say, it's easy for me to say don't fear. as I'm sitting over here. So how do we do that? How do we not fear? We redirect our focus. And a lot of times I know that's difficult for me to do because part of my gift is hyper focus, and that's frustrating at times when I'm trying to not focus on something. But what I want you to think about is that we all have an ability, whether you realize it or whether you may have a suspicion of it. You're entangled with everything on this planet. Everything. And we share a heart. I don't know if y'all know about trees, how they communicate underground in their networks, but it's like a huge vascular system. We are that. And I can't say, I just want you to understand nothing should be feared. When it comes down to it, I know that many people, like whenever I ask people, hang on, I'm walking, I've got to get up. If I sit too long, I have to, I'm a walker. So when I say that don't fear, how do we do that? So you need to understand that what you're fearing is ultimately death, right? Well, death is one of the most beautiful experiences you can have. Even if it's not a great ending, your mind leaves your body, and you don't feel a thing. So that's what I'm saying. Don't fear. Don't revert or regress. Just go in love and realize, like, when you ask yourself, what are you afraid of? It usually always leads back to death. And that's nothing to fear. Okay, yeah, we have to move away from fear. We are eternal, infinite beings. And so if you're just joining and you haven't done the revocation, the contract revocation, I want you to reach out to me, and I want to mail that to you and send that. The contract revocation, I want you to reach out to me, and I want to mail that to you and send that to you. It's really important that we continue to say those things. And if you feel comfortable sharing it, look, I have been, because of where I live, in a rural conservative Christian area, I have had worries about coming out with my story because my belief is very different. It's not a belief, it's a knowing. So my knowing and my understanding are different than a lot of people around here. And I was worried for my children, like what their friends might say or what their moms might say. And then I thought, you know what? I can't let that stand in my way anymore. And I'm amazed because people in my area have started reaching out to me saying, oh my gosh, I didn't think I was ever going to find anyone to talk to about this. I've been experiencing it all by myself. And, that's a beautiful thing, because when you have the courage to tell your truth and you speak, it takes a little bit of courage, right? But then when you realize it helps other people speak their truth, then that's where alchemy begins to occur. Okay, so a lot of people are feeling that, but I'm telling y'all, even people that grew up in church with me have been reaching out to me and saying, I'm so glad that I found your message, and I don't feel crazy anymore. So I want you to understand, the earth is our mother. We're all connected. We're all entangled. And when we honor her, then by being our true, authentic selves, then something happens all around us. And it's like we put out into the ether or the existence change. And it's all change that we seek to grab a hold of. So anyway, I've encouraged all of you to do that. If you feel comfortable sharing that with anyone, the contract revocation, do that, because you may even be surprised at who needs that message. Okay, so you may be surprised who reaches out to you, and the universe is aligning us more and more and more for a great purpose. We have to honor her. We have to do that. Okay, so let's recap. We did the revocation for healing, unintentional things being done to us. We gave you the power to choose, to know that that's going to work. You have the power, and you have to take it back for yourself. Stop giving it away. Stop consenting unknowingly to things when we watch television or when we partake in certain activities. Look, history, we have to write new stories too, and I know that, but that's a small part of it. But find new traditions that don't support commercialism and capitalism, because that's not what it's about. It's about consuming less, connecting more, loving yourself, loving others, fearing nothing, going in love and being your authentic self, and taking back what's been taken away. I love y'all, and if y'all have any questions, message me. If y'all have any comments. And also, let me tell you something. It's really important that we're careful right now what we intake. There are a lot of people in my spiritual friend group who have been unknowingly tampered with. The message is similar, but it is perverted in the way that something happened and they are thinking that they are above, that they are God, that they are, and we have to be careful with that, because I know we're all looking for a savior, but we are the saviors. We are the saviors. We are the creators. And with you today, I know for a fact that we made a small change, and you have to hang on to that. Be hopeful. Go in love, and let's talk again soon, okay? If y'all need me, I'm here. I'll continue offering as much love and support as I can to all of you. Y'all deserve it. You're worthy. And you're worthy of healing. You have to go through it to get through it. Okay? Keep going through. Keep going through. Turn the pain into power. Turn the frustration into love. And above all things, call back your power. I love y'all. Thank y'all for sharing time and space with me. I'll see y'all soon.